Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm a Colombo Australian woman living in Melbourne, and I know it's been like, I think it's been like 5 months since the last time I uploaded a video. Look people, lockdown, we are still in lockdown, can you believe it, here in Melbourne? But I'm back and I really intend to stick to it this time, so hopefully you don't have to wait another 5 months to see another video. So today's video is all about mid-year freakout tag. I know I'm like 2 months late for this, but I really wanted to, I think this is a very good way to summarize what I've been reading and what I've been enjoying in the first 6 months of 2021. All right, so the first question is, how much have you read in 2021? And so far I've read 70 books. I'm almost 71. I'm close to finish my current read, which is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And so yeah, 70 books out of the 100 books that it's my goal for the year. The second question in this tag is, what have you been reading? And for that, I'm gonna go refer back to my trusty Excel tracker. And so far, the majority of the books, so 23% of the books have been a mystery or a thriller, which makes sense because that's my favorite genre. Then 20% contemporary fantasy. I'm actually reading a lot of fantasy lately, which it's new to me, especially high fantasy. Then 11% romance, classics 11%, and that is boosted by all the Agatha Christie ones. Memoir 10s, I don't know what is in, non-fiction 7. Yeah, I haven't read that many non-fiction books. I'm not in the mood for it. Like, I want to get lost in fantasy worlds. Moving on to my favorite question of this tag, and is best book to have read so far. And I'm so glad I waited to make this, because by far the best book that I have read in 2021 is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Weir, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a sci-fi book, and oh my goodness, look, if you are gonna read it, please do it as an audiobook. I actually read it physically. My eyes were looking at the words, what my ears were listening to the book. And I think the audiobook just puts the whole experience into another level, takes it to another level, because it's amazing. I mean, you will understand once you start reading it, you will understand why it's such a massive difference between reading it and listening to it. If you read The Martian, or if you even watched the movie The Martian with Matt Damon, this book is similar to that. Almost, it's like you can tell it's the same author, so it's full of geeky stuff, a lot of scientific words, all about space and relativity and planets. I'm all for it. Like, this is the book that I didn't know I needed. It's funny, so the key character, Ryland Grace, he is really funny in the situation where he finds himself in. We start the book with him waking up, and then he doesn't know where he is, he doesn't remember anything, and then he realizes he's in space. And then throughout the book, we keep going back in time when he remembers a little bit more of what was happening leading up to him being in space. And it's a whole adventure. His mission is to go far away to another galaxy to try to save Earth. I think this is better than The Martian because of certain aspect of it, and what made me give it 5+ stars was the ending. I really enjoyed that ending. I think it was chef's kiss, like they say. Question number 4 is, what has been the best sequel that you have read this year? And I haven't read that many sequels, to be honest, but by far the one that came to mind was Heartstopper Volume 4 with Alice Oseman. I think this is the best book out of the 4. In this series, we follow Nick and Charlie. They are 2 teenagers growing up with a lot of feelings and lots of things to come, like to understand about themselves. So they are in couple. I care so much about Nick and about Charlie, and I can't, like, it made me very happy. This book made me extremely happy, but also it just touches really important topics that need to be talked about with teenagers. Right. Moving on to question number 5 is new release that you haven't read but you want to. And for that, I'm gonna go with Finland Donovan is Killing It. This is meant to be like a funny mystery. I have heard so many good things about this book, and it's pretty, what I know about it is that this woman, she is getting a divorce. She's on the phone, I think she's saying that she wants to kill her husband or something. And another woman who is listening to the conversation, she gets the impression that Finlay is actually an assassin, and she turns to her and say, can you please, I want to hire you because I want you to kill my husband. That's all I know about this book, so it sounds amazing. Question number 6 is the most anticipated for the second part of the year, and for this I have 3 books. The first one is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, and this is the same author as The House in the Cerulean Sea, one of my favorite books from last year. I don't know what the Under the Whispering Door is about. I just know that I fell in love with the way TJ Klune writes, and I just can't wait to read the next one, and that book is being released in September. The other one is my favorite Australian author, Leanne Moriarty. Her new book, Apples Never Fall, is also being released in September, and I have really high hopes for this book. I didn't enjoy her previous book, which was 9 Perfect Strangers, so I really hope she got her shit together for this one, and we get back to normal and me loving her books. Finally, this is not to be released this year, it's coming in January, but this week we found out that To Paradise, the new book of Hanya Yanagihara, it's coming in January, and I can't wait. If you don't know, one of my favorite books, top 3 books of my life, it's A Little Life, and I can't wait to know and to read what she has to tell us next. Question number 7 is, what book took you out of your comfort zone? And for me, by miles, was The Troop by Nick Carter. I picked up this book because Gabby from Gabby Reads, who is one of my favorite YouTubers, she loves the book. Actually, her book club is named after this book, The Troopers. And it's a horror. I normally don't read horror, but some horror I do enjoy. So I went to this with open mind, and I really hope to like it. And oh my god, I hated it. I don't know why I finished it. I should have DNF'd it as soon as things started happening. I know there are so many people out there that will love this book, but it's definitely not for me. This book is about, there is this island off the shores of one town, and there is this group of teenagers, so 5 teenagers between 15 16. They go with their teacher, their scout master. They go to this island to spend a couple of days in the tiny island. So it is not that far from the mainland, and the island is meant to be deserted, and when they get there, they run into a stranger, someone who escaped a facility, and we don't know what type of facility, but someone is there, and he is in a really bad shape, really sick. So the teacher, who is also, it's not a teacher, like the Boy Scouts leader, who is also the town's doctor, of course he tries to help this stranger, and then hell breaks loose because awful things start happening because this guy is infected with a virus. This book is for those who like gore things, gore, blood, intestines, and like so many descriptions that will make you throw up. So yeah, I didn't like it, out of my comfort zone, and it was a disappointment. Question number 8 is, what was your biggest surprise? My biggest surprise this year was The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Ogawa. This book, I read it because Emma from Drinking by My Shelf loved it last year, and oh my god, I can understand why. I wasn't expecting it to love it so much. Look, this book made me feel all the feelings. So this book is all about a professor that he only has short-term memory of, I think it's 120 minutes, and every 120 minutes his memory restarts because of an accident that he was in 16 years ago. So he's stuck in the past. So he will forget you every 120 minutes. And so this is about the professor. He is around 60 years old and he's obsessed with numbers. And then you get this housekeeper he's very good at housekeeping, who is a single mother and really wants this job to work. She tries to really connect to the professor. And the professor has a very weird way of connecting with people, and it's all about numbers. He is obsessed about numbers, and the reason is because he is a professor, he was a professor of mathematics, and he loved mathematics, and he's obsessed with prime numbers, and you are obsessed with it after you finish reading the book too. If you want to read something outside, like a short book that brings you happiness but also makes you feel other things, I really recommend you to read The Housekeeper and the Professor. And on this question, I also want to talk about a book that was my biggest disappointment. It's Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I had so high expectations for this book. His previous book, Home Before Dark, was one of my favorites last year, so I was really excited about reading this book, and it flopped. It was absurdly bad. I don't know what happened to Riley Sager. Question number 9 is new favorite author, and again I'm gonna say is Yoko Ogawa. Question number 10 is underrated gems that you have discovered this year, and for that I'm gonna say Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I haven't seen this book or on BookTube or TikTok, and I think it should be there. It is so good. Look, if you like Elizabeth Acevedo's type of books or Angie Thomas, then you will love this book too. And it's told in, I'm gonna say, verse. So it has verses and like poems, and it's about this black teenager whose brother was killed recently, and one of the rules growing up that he learned is that he needs to kill the person who killed his brother. And he takes a decision. He finds his brother's gun and he goes down into the elevator to go and kill the person who killed his brother, right? Because that's what men do. While he gets into the elevator starts stopping in every single floor down. So there are 6 floors, and in each of them someone from his past or his family or his environment comes in. So it's magical realism type of book, and they have conversations, and then by the end when he reaches the ground floor, he has a big decisions to make, and is he gonna do what the rules state, and is he gonna kill that man, or is he gonna change his decision and make a different one and change the cascade effect of what's happening in his family? Question 11 is if I had any rereads this year, and the only rereads that I have been doing is Agatha Christie. So this year, in terms of rereads, I reread Murder on the Orient Express and 3-Act Tragedy. Both of them really solid books of Agatha Christie. Question number 12 is book that made you cry, and I can only remember crying with this one. This is Dancing at the Pity Party, a Dead Month graphic memoir by Tylee Feather. Look, I read this book early in January and I cried my eyes out, and it's an amazing book that I wish everyone could read. It's a graphic novel and it's a true story. So it is a memoir, and it's about Tyler Feather's mom, who sadly passed away of cancer when she was a teenager. and this book is about her, Tyla is telling the story of her life via the graphic novel, but it's more like a tribute to her mom. So we start before her mom got sick, and then through her sickness, she passing away, and then the consequences, or what meant for her family after her mom died. And I remember crying my eyes out on this. It was such a beautiful book. I was just amazed at her talent, her resilience, the way she shared her mom with us. It was beautiful. And I read this early January, before my mom got sick. And since then I really want to reread it, because now I'm in the same position of her. So if you don't know, I lost my mom in January. So this was kind of like the universe was saying to me, look, read this in preparation for what is coming ahead of your way, because I read this and 20 days later my mom wasn't with us anymore. So yeah, it made me cry, but it also made me very happy, and I really want to meet her and say how impactful and how important her book was in my life, because when I lost my mom, and since I lost my mom, I haven't been able to stop thinking about this book. I haven't reread it because I think it's gonna destroy me a little bit, but yeah, look, if you want to feel all the feelings, I really recommend you to read this book. And then number 13, books that make you happy. Again, this is like a broken record, but The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Ogawa. Look, it made me happy because I used to be a nerd at the school. I used to love maths. The class, the trigonometry, physics, all that. I used to love it back in school. At uni, not so much, but in school, high school, yes. And this book goes into explaining all sort of numbers, like what's a prime number, abundant number, what is an abundant number. It made me think about my childhood. Yeah, all those years, me obsessing about trigonometry and logic, and I was just smiling because the professor is so sweet and smart. Question number 14 is the most beautiful book that you have bought this year, and by that I'm gonna go back to this, Dancing at the Pity Party by Tyler Feather. And finally, question number 15, and thank you for, if you are still watching, it's goals for the rest of the year. I want to complete my 100 books in 2021. Last year I read 52, I think. So this year it's a big leap from there, big step for me, and I want to read that. What else? There are a few books that I want to really definitely need to read this year, and one of them is the trilogy called The Pillars of Earth by Ken Follett. I read the Century trilogy a couple of years ago and I loved it, and I know that that's an author that I really enjoy, so I really want to go back to that historical fiction. Another goal that I should put myself, I should aim for, is to buy less books, because I'm just hoarding books like there is no tomorrow. But hey, I think that you can relate to me. I'm pretty sure many people can relate to me in this booktube universe. Alright, that's it. That was the mid-year freakout tag a month later. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you pick up one of these books, and if you have any other recommendations, let me know down in the comments. Can't wait to hear what's the best book that you have read this year. Maybe that will inspire me to read it too. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give a thumbs up and have a lovely day.